So if you ever wonder what a huddle is, that's a huddle. It's not a cuddle. A cuddle is when we come and we say, oh, gosh, we're losing. Oh, no, it's terrible. We're going to lose this game. Gosh, oh, let's just cuddle. That's a cuddle. It's negative. All right, it's a huddle. Let's go. Now we're back on track. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what a huddle is.
This is the Active Church. To God be the glory.
Being understood is our responsibility. If no one understands me, I'm the problem. But communication is also about understanding others. Oh, we so badly want to be understood. We do want to be understood. We blame other people for not being understood. But the reality is, there's also a responsibility to understand. And in order to understand, we need to ask questions and we need to listen to the answers. We need to get context. We need to be able to see the world from their shoes. But communication is also about communicating your heart. You see, if you're not communicating your heart, if you're not sharing what's in your heart, you're not communicating. You might be speaking, you might be talking, but that's not communication. And the reality is that we don't communicate our heart because we cover up. And we cover up because we're not as good as what we'd like to make out to be. And that causes miscommunication. And the causes of miscommunication, it's pride, sin, assumption, and presumption. The main reason for miscommunication is sin. And so we need to deal with our hearts. And 1 Timothy chapter 1, verses 5 to 7, speaks about the fact that we live for a purpose. And what is the purpose of the commandments of God? Now, the purpose of the commandment is love. In other words, everything we do out of love. Love from a pure heart, from a good conscience, and from a sincere faith. A pure heart. In other words, you see what I really want. My motives are clear. My motives aren't for me. My motive is for you. And when you think about this, wherever you are, what is the purpose for you being there? If you believe in God, your purpose is love. Your purpose is love. Why do you live where you live? Why are you in the school that you're in? Why do you work where you work? Why are you in South Africa today? You're in South Africa to spread love, to pour your life into other people. And if you're not pouring your life into other people, you're not going to be happy. Because believe me, when you're selfish, you cannot be satisfied. God never built you to be selfish. When you're selfish, you lose. The purpose is always love. If you're there for the money, you're a slave. And the world is full of slaves today. And so the purpose is love. And what is love? 1 John 3 verse 16. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid his life down for us, and we ought to lay our lives down for our brothers. The thing is, we give our lives for the person we're married to. We give our lives for our children. We give our lives for our community. We give our lives for the people that we work with, or at university with, or at school with. We give our lives to our enemies. Our enemies. Oh, that one goes down really well. Our enemies. You know, the people from the other side of the tracks. If we live in Rosettaville, we give our lives for those in Bella Vista. If we live in the south, we give our lives for those in the north. If they've stolen from us or damaged us in some way, we give our lives for them. But if my motive is wrong, things are messed up. And if my motive is wrong, I will never communicate properly. And I will never be able to have relationships. So there's 5 points to communicating to your team. The first one is expectation. An expectation, you're communicating, hey, I believe in you. I want to ask you, the people around you, do you believe in them? Do you believe in them? Do you expect them to be able to rise up? If you're receiving excuses, you don't believe in them. Leaders who make excuses for the people that they're leading don't believe in their people. Okay? You expect them to be able to rise up. Sometimes that's a challenge. In fact, not sometimes. It's always a challenge. But here's the reality. If you don't believe in your people, you don't believe in yourself. If you don't believe in your marriage, you don't believe in yourself. If you don't believe in your spouse, you don't believe in yourself. If you don't believe in your children, you don't believe in yourself. If you don't believe in your cell group, the people that you're leading, your disciples, you don't believe in yourself. So you communicate expectation, and then the second part of communication is opportunity. You give them the opportunity to perform. And they know exactly what they've got to do. They know how they fit into the bigger picture. They know what their part of the game plan is. They know specifically, this is what I need to do. And then they get the opportunity to do it. And I take a risk and I let them do it. I give them a strategy. I set a goal. I give them a time frame. And we agree on that. And the reason why we have a strategy and goals and a time frame is to conquer. To be able to conquer. And then the opportunities get communicated, and so does the strategy, so that they know what to do. And then once the opportunity has been given, we've got the goals and the time frames, there's now accountability. Okay, so how did we do? And we spoke about accountability last week. We account. You find out where you are. It's not to find out, are you a bad person, eh? Like Marcus. You've been wearing glasses, I check, eh? Like you're a bad person. Oaks that look like you must be bad. You just need a moustache. You can look like, like a bad person. Just complete the look and put some horns here. You understand what I'm saying? That's not what accountability is all about. Accountability allows us to see where we are at, because when we know where we're at, we know where we're doing well, where we're not doing so well, and where we have the opportunity to grow. And we all have the opportunity to grow. There are none of us here that can say, I don't need to grow. We all need to grow. If you think you don't need to grow, you're in a very dangerous place. We all need accountability. And so now, from accountability, we realize there's some things that are not going so well, some things we're not achieving. And so now we need to make some adjustments. And when we make the adjustments, there's training. That's what happens in the service. This is training. It's what happens in our cell groups. It's what happens on Sunday nights. You come to pre-encounter, post-encounter. You learn simple things. How do I do a quiet time? If I have an encounter with God, how do I hold on to that every day of my life? Simple little things. Why do we praise and worship? And then from there you go into destiny training. Destiny training puts you on the track towards your purpose. If you haven't done that, you're not even on the track. Out of the services, you can only get a fraction of what's going on. And so that's training. And that's also why coming to church is so important. Let me tell you, let's go look at one area. In your marriage, you need training. Unless your marriage is perfect, and there's a perfect, in fact, it's not happening. It's not true. Let me not even say that, because I'd be lying. We know that for all of us, there's an opportunity to improve. And so, but coming to church is important because we're getting trained. How do we make a dream team in our home? And we keep striving for that. Makes things so much better. So, we fight so much less. And then, after training, there's celebration. Because you see, what happens is, we like to celebrate the win. So, I'm not happy that the Springboks won. Lost, I mean. But the question is, did they do the right stuff? You see, they're going to get slaughtered now. Okay, I read in the one Afrikaans paper on the headline, the shame of it. We didn't only lose to Ireland for the first time ever on South African soil. They had 14 men for 60 minutes of the game. Shame. It's shameful. Skande is the Afrikaans word. It's a skande. It's a disgrace. That's how we are. We only celebrate the win. But the issue is, when the person starts doing the right thing, or the team starts doing the right thing, there's a gap between when they start doing the right thing with the right heart and the right motive and the harvest. The harvest doesn't come straight away. A farmer doesn't go and plant all their seeds in their field. And then the next day come and all they see is sand. And whether we're dealing with our children, our disciples, whatever team that we're in, when we start seeing them doing the right thing, we celebrate their contribution. Because if they're doing the right things and their heart is right, it's only a matter of time and the harvest will come. God will ensure that. God will make that happen. God's the one that brings the harvest. And so we celebrate you doing the right thing. No, but I'm not seeing the results. Just carry on, relax. It'll come. You're doing the right thing. Yes. If you wait for the fruit, your disciples will get despondent. And so now, in terms of this whole thing of celebration, this is what the huddle is all about. Now, I want to just give an example. Can I have Ryan? Can I have Marcus, Paul, and Kat? Okay, now can you just come form a circle? This is a huddle. Guys, come here. Now, these guys are all in now. Now I get excluded from my own huddle. What the hell are you doing? And I stand here and I say, okay, guys, listen, we're busy losing. We're 5 points down, okay? Kat, you're supposed to be watching that other oak. You're not watching. Chris, you're supposed to sort this out. Paul, what's happening with that other guy? What's going on there? Okay? No, he's too fast for me. Okay, Paul, just get it, start a second before. Then, because if you start a second before, you can sort that out. And Ryan, why are you letting in so many goals, bro? Come on, do your job now. You know what to do. We trained it. Okay, dive left, dive right. You understand what I'm saying? Jump up high, do all the stuff that you said. If you do that, we'll be fine. Okay, put your hands there. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Come on, guys. Let's go! Okay, thanks. Give him a big round of applause. That's what they do in sport. That's a huddle. So if you ever wonder what a huddle is, that's a huddle. It's not a cuddle. A cuddle is when we come and we say, oh, guys, we're losing. Oh, no, it's terrible. We're going to lose this game. Guys, oh, let's just cuddle. That's a cuddle. It's negative. All right, it's a huddle. Let's go. Now we're back on track. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what a huddle is. A huddle happens in your cell group. That's what a cell group's all about. You come together. And that's why guys are sitting with guys. Yeah, it turns to a cuddle when the chicks are there. You understand what I'm saying? All right, the guys are with the guys and the chicks are with the chicks. The chicks will talk about anything. It doesn't matter who's there. But the guys, they close up. They close up. It's an example I give. No guy's going to sit there in a cell group when there's women and say, guys, I'm battling with porn. Eh? But if you really trust the guys, you'll admit it. And then you'll find there's 3 other guys also battling. Okay, okay, guys, now we can start dealing with mechanisms as to how to overcome this thing. And I'm not alone in my struggle. Because I thought I was such a bad person because I had this struggle. That's what the cell group's all about. And I want to just talk this morning about 5 things that happen in a huddle. By the way, a huddle, you can pull your disciples together for 5 minutes after church quickly. Guys, come on. We've got this major event coming up with a night of miracles. We want 10 people. You get 2, you get 2, you get 3 because, you got a big mouth. Katlego and Chris, you Oaks bring 15. If you don't bring 15, you haven't even tried. Because if you sneeze, 3 people will come. Okay, and then that's a huddle. Now, we spoke about this. Just remember, get back to basics. This is how you do it. And so, there's 5 things that happen in the huddle. The first thing is we refocus. We refocus. If the huddle happens in the middle of the game, it's called a timeout. And what they do when they take a timeout, the team's losing. So they refocus. Guys, this is what we're supposed to do. Remember, we agreed on this. This is the strategy. We've lost focus. Let's get back to it. Let's focus on our game plan because we can win this thing. Guys, we're down, but we haven't been doing what we were supposed to, and we're not that far down. If we do what we're supposed to, we're going to win. 1, 2, yeah, let's go. We refocus. The second thing is that there's a transfer of information. There's a transfer of information from the leader to the team, the coach. There's a transfer of information from the leader to the disciples, or from the parent to the children. There's a refocus. And then there's a transfer of information. We give the information, but we also receive the information. The information comes two ways. We're busy speaking, and Paul says, yeah, but I'm playing, and it's against Louis over there. That guy's just too fast for me. I'm trying to do what we set out to do, but it's just too fast. In other words, something's happening that's preventing me from doing the strategy. You see, I need to find out, are you just not doing what you're supposed to do? Or is it that you're not able to? Something's preventing you. If we don't have the sharing of information and we don't get context, we'll end up being judgmental, condescending, and we'll condemn them. The person's trying to do it, but they just can't do it. And so now we condemn them, and they feel bad, and there's no way out because they're just not able to get it right. So there has to be this getting understanding, getting the reasons, so that there's no judgment, no condemnation. There's not supposed to be judgment and condemnation. If there's judgment and condemnation, you're doing it wrong. All right? You're not doing it right. And that's important. That's incredibly important. Even in the cell group, when there's accountability, it's not about judgment and condemnation. It's not about judging you. It's about getting better. The third thing that happens in the huddle is that we have the opportunity to make personnel changes. Sometimes someone is doing something that they just aren't able to do. Or sometimes you've got someone on the team who's just got an attitude and not prepared to do what they're supposed to do. I don't know if you've seen it, any of you watch sport. Sometimes you can see there's a player on that field and that player's got an attitude. Okay, I remember with the Chelsea team. And a guy named Diego Costa had an attitude. He had such a bad attitude. And the one time he'd been taken off and he wasn't playing, he was on the bench because of his attitude. And then he goes and he warms up and he goes back to his seat and he chucks his thing at the coach. Sits down. Attitude. Take him off. Other times it's just beyond that guy's ability. He can't do it. Move him there. He might work there. And move that guy here. So we move personnel around. But we also have the opportunity to make play changes. In other words, not just changing people around or things like that, but to actually try something else. Okay, this isn't working, let's try this. Because not everything that we try works. What often happens is that when it's not working, then people say, we shouldn't do it. It's never worked. But the reality is, in terms of this, sometimes we just make little adjustments, tiny little adjustments, and it changes everything. In fact, if you look on the field, that's often what the coach will do. You'll see even in football, the coach is busy shouting and screaming, and often they're swearing there, you understand? And the next thing, he takes this guy off, puts that guy on, and then he says to that guy, go there, play a little bit deeper, and then we don't understand what's going on. And so the commentator says, so-and-so is playing deeper, and they've put this guy on because he's more of an attacking guy, whereas the other guy's more of a conservative guy. So the commentators explain to us what's going on because we just care about whether they're winning or losing. We just see the final score. The coach knows what he's doing. And he's moving the players around, changing, making small changes in strategy. And then what happens is, you see the great coaches, they're able to turn a defeat into a victory. Just by making small little adjustments. Tiny little adjustments. That often happens in the huddle. And that's why flexibility and communication are so important. And it takes place in the huddle where these things are made. And then those of you who were at the macro cell, you might remember the fifth point where a whole lot of people started saying, yes, yes, and that is rest. Amen, yeah. That's what that was the response. Amen. Now, I understand that some of us need to take a rest from resting. This point is not for you. And this point is not to say, I'm taking a sabbatical, I'm stepping back to make a comeback, because I've heard those sorts of statements in churches before. I'm taking a step back to make a comeback, you know. And they never make the comeback. This is a breather. This is like a timeout. Okay, you watch it. If you watch the NBA basketball, they're busy with the finals there. And whenever one team starts losing, the other coach of the team that's losing, he goes, time out. Guys, we spoke about this. You're not watching that guy. That guy had a wide open shot. And very often, you know, when things are going bad for the one team, and they go off and they do the timeout, then what happens is, when they come back, the game changes. Because the coach refocuses him. And so this is just a breather. It's a time to think. They refocused. They didn't cuddle. They didn't feel sorry for themselves. We huddle with our teams. Your family is your first cell. At times you need to huddle. You need to refocus. You need to reconnect with your kids. Sometimes when with your cell group and you're running a cell group, sometimes you just need to huddle them, even if it's maybe 5 or 10 minutes after church. Just quickly come back. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. Just get a rest from all of the stress and all of it. Just get your mind off and get another perspective.
My name is Tris Pryor, and I am here to reveal the truth. There are others who exist on this planet that do not view us as equals. They call themselves the pure, and they call us damaged. They created a wall to try and separate their world from ours, and factions to divide us from each other. We were their experiment, and it almost destroyed us. They tried to make us forget who we are and where we come from, but they did not succeed. So here we stand, and we are going to tear down their wall. To those of you beyond the wall, hear me loud and clear, because I know you're listening. Johannesburg is not your experiment. It's our home, and it always will be.